Hi, I'm Terrell Turner, the host of the Business Talk Library, and today I have another great guest on. And it's always amazing that we can expand the reach of the Business Talk Library to around the world of having business owners that can talk about their story, what they're doing, and what they're seeing from their part of the world. Because what we do realize is that a lot of the challenges that we have and we face are very common, no matter where you are in the world. So I definitely want to thank, our special guest that we have on today, Miss, and I am going to try my best to pronounce her name properly. Is Agnieszka Wojciechowska?
Very good. Very good.
Perfect, perfect. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's great. It's a great pleasure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, before we jump in to talk about, your business and what you're doing right now, can you tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes, so just to say, so my name is Agnieszka Wojciechowska, and people call me Agi. So I'm originally from Poland, but I live in the UK. So I do have issues with how people pronounce my surname quite often. So don't worry about that. um, my background is that basically I studied in Poland, and then I decided to do master's degree in the UK, and I moved to the UK. I really enjoyed the time there. I love being abroad. Foreign languages is something that is a passion of mine as well, and basically I decided to stay. I joined a company working in the finance department, so that's my background, finance and accounting. Actually, I've always known that this is what I'm going to do. I think I was 14 when I decided that I'm going to be a finance, accounting, or maybe economist, or in those areas, business management. It was something that has always been of interest to me. I love traveling, and I've also been very lucky to travel for pleasure and work. And not long time ago, in May, I returned from a four years assignment in Dubai. So I worked in the Middle East as well, and I gained some experience and exposure there to business owners. I work with multiple industries. Majority of my experience is in hospitality, leisure hospitality. I also served as a startup mentor, which was one of the best experiences for me.
Awesome, awesome.
Yeah.
I always find it very interesting when I have guests on from Europe and just to hear, just how mobile they've been throughout their
Yeah.
career. And
Yeah.
because it's not something you hear. I mean, I remember when I worked in Brazil, and when I tell other people in the US, I mean, it's like a very, very big deal. But when I talk to a
Mhm.
lot of business owners and professionals in Europe, to where it's just very common to move around. Now, I guess for you, it seems like some of the places you were going, I mean, being originally from Poland, that,
Yeah.
the language was different. How was that experience adapting to that?
Started learning language, English, I think when I was 11 or 12. And I just remember this is the only childhood dream I really remember is that I wanted to learn English. Because I imagined when I was little that when I speak English, I can do literally anything. I can travel anywhere and I can work anywhere. And when I moved, I wasn't sure at the beginning, but then, as I got into that, and I think also it's the culture of the country. It's not only about the language, but the culture of the country that really resonated with me. And being Polish, you see, Poland is we don't really have that many foreigners. We don't. Our culture in Poland is just sort of, it's really all the same. But when I traveled to countries like Germany, France, the UK, I realized that the culture and the amount of different nationalities and cultures there's such a mix that is just makes the things simply much more interesting. And I think it's one of the things that really also attracted me to being in that country, in those countries. And you see, when you say about the experience in America that people do not travel that much, it's really the same in Poland, or at least at the time when I was at the university. It was not very common to travel much abroad. Or definitely not to travel for work or not to travel for university. It was only like few people maybe that I knew that who did this. But when I came to the UK, I realized, like you said, everybody went on a trip around the world already, at the age of 20 something. And definitely it's very encouraged to take a year abroad. And when you work, in the corporate environment, you end up traveling a lot. And it's also what happened to me.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So now, as you started to navigate, working in those different, different avenues and different places,
Mhm.
what kind of sparked the idea of getting into the business that you're in now?
Well, so basically, I wanted to be a business owner in a long time, and I simply have not had the guts to do it. It's simple as that. I think being business owner is a quite big challenge. Obviously, I worked in a corporate environment. I saw what people in charge have to go through, and then there was a moment when I started working also with smaller businesses on the side because people were asking me for help. So someone introduced me to someone else, and can you please help with finances, with putting together a model, projection, business plan. And, this is a topic that it's not a strong suit for many people. And also it's simply for many people very boring. And it's not boring to me. And when I was receiving these requests, assignments, and I just realized I can make a difference. And then there was this part of me, I think, I was a little bit envious. I simply looked at people who are all business owners, who are entrepreneurs. They have great ideas, rolling out businesses, tech-enabled businesses, wanting to like have this impact on the world. I mean, how amazing is that, right? And I just, I never had an idea. I never knew really what kind of business I could set up. So it just really took me a few years to get that confidence. And then I realized, listen, I mean, I'm just going to do what I do best. I'm just going to do it on my own, right? What I really enjoy, I think I do best. I can, work with, and I have done already some of this work with people. And then I decided, listen, I mean, I think it's time just to go on my own and do it on my own and set up a business that will be service-based business, at least to start with, and offer a type of product that I know I can deliver.
Awesome. Now, for
Yeah.
those that are watching and listening, I guess you can kind of tell if you're a follower of the show, you know that I have a passion for those that are in accounting and finance, which is
Yeah.
why I think Agnieszka is amazing.
Thanks. Thank
So,
you.
so when we talk about, just kind of that part about building the models and things, what's been, kind of your experience that you've seen like businesses struggle with that, or, have they understood the value that you bring?
I think, to be honest, sometimes it takes a little bit of time. And I do admit that I'm often contacted out of necessity, I guess. So I had situations where I've been contacted because of cash flow problems, or, for example, because a business is looking for an investor. And when they're looking for an investor, obviously they have to have the finances really in order because it's just crucial. It's a necessity, it's crucial, and so on. And, unfortunately, I see a lot that business owners just run their business out of their bank account, like as I call it, right? It's the reality we are in. I think it requires a little bit of education because I don't think it's not that much time that the business owner needs to pay attention to their finances, especially if they have a good team on board. But the reality is that they do look at their bank account, every week or every day. And if the bank account is full, it means we're doing well. If it's not full, this is obviously when we might have, some kind of problem coming up. And maybe this is now the time that I really have to drill down into my numbers and so on. And at this time, it very often might be just too late. And what I do as part of my job is try and educate, because I think as a business owner, definitely finance accounting side is something that you delegate. But as people say, sometimes we abdicate instead of delegate. So it's delegation by abdication, but like never really even paying attention to it unless it's, like I said, there's some kind of issue. So what I try to convince people I work with and the owners, our founders I work with, is to have a weekly meeting or a bi-weekly meeting, or at least a monthly meeting where we're reviewing these finances. And I try as much as I can, and very often I think I'm successful at it, that I show them the benefits of it, because how proud they become when they're looking at the figures and they're seeing improvement. And I think this, it's important to realize, right, to measure things, what measured, what's measured get managed, and it gets improved as well, and really drill in these principles and show them that it can be done in a very easy, very quick way, but at the same time giving them that confidence that their business is doing well.
Mm-hmm. And I totally agree with that, because I do think, unfortunately, a lot of people do reach out when, they've had an issue and they're like, hey, I just need help. And I always tell people, it is so much easier and it is better for your business to have these checks in place before the issue happens, because
Correct.
unfortunately there have been some businesses that when they got into the issue, it was such a big issue that they couldn't recover, or if they did recover, their business was never the same ever again. So I definitely think, business, I always encourage people, have a conversation with your finance person like earlier before you have an issue, because they'll also be able to give you pointers on, hey, let's change this so we don't run into an issue later.
Yes, that's correct. And particularly that's for businesses who want to grow. If you want to grow, it's non-negotiable. It's very important to look at these things, and as much as you can prevent the issues, because it's possible.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So when it comes down to the services that you offer in your business, what are the services and how do people do business with you?
So my company is a finance business partner to business owners, and particularly we work with service-based businesses and creative agencies. And the main two types of services that we offer is virtual outsourced finance department, or virtual finance department. It's where basically we take care of everything for a business owner, from bookkeeping, accounting to business planning, and the more strategic advice regarding budgeting, forecasting, business growth, and so on. Or we offer a virtual FD, virtual CFO service on its own as well. So for example, if a business owner decides to have someone in-house, because it happens as well, some business owners prefer to have a bookkeeper on site, then we come in as an additional level of support, the more high level support that helps businesses grow and help with the cash flow, building in or creating efficiencies in their business as well. This is what we do.
Awesome. So how can people find you online, or how can they get in touch with you via social media?
The best way is to look at my LinkedIn profile, connect with me through LinkedIn or through my Instagram account, CFO For Growth. My company is called CFO For Growth, and you can also check me out on my website, cfoforgrowth.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Now, one question that I like to ask every guest that comes on is, when you think about your journey, and which your journey has been rich with experiences from so many different places, and you think about where your business is now, what's two pieces of advice that you would give to other entrepreneurs?
My first and the most important, I think, and that has been a big lesson to me, is to invest in yourself. I think it really helped me to be a part of a mastermind. Coming from corporate environment and becoming a business owner, it's a massive shift in terms of mindset. And I knew that there will be challenges, but I didn't realize I'm going to face that many challenges. And a lot of them are really just things that are in your head, not necessarily. It's just because you feel a little bit more on your own as well, I guess. I don't have many friends, entrepreneurs. That's why I sometimes feel like I'm on my own, and I want to discuss things and speak to people who have been through this. So being a mastermind, part of a mastermind is a great idea. And for me, areas where I had to identify the areas where I wanted to develop. So becoming visible, social media, sales, marketing, again, not my strong suit. So it's what I invested in to make sure that I'm getting better and better at it. And I would really encourage that anyone, if, for example, finances is it's your weakest point, educate yourself a little bit, invest in some coaching, or again, a mastermind where you basically can develop these the skills that you need to set up a business, because there is a multitude of skills that you require. And the second piece of advice, I think it will be more financial. So I mentioned about running the business, your business just from a bank account. And to be honest, I realized at the beginning of my journey is that I did exactly the same. That sometimes, even though I advise business owners and I work with them and we've got creating these really great results, I'm making the mistakes that they're making, that I look at others' accounts and others' reporting, but I neglect my own model, my own agency model, to make sure that I grow as well and I track it. And yes, I've got team working maybe on my account, but I also need to make sure, and it's what I've done as well, I diarized that every week there's certain KPIs I look at, every month other things that I look at, and I always have that 12 months forecast, so the 12 months plan, and the vision that I have, that it's basically put in numbers on how I wanted to look at it. It's all in numbers, it's all on the paper, and I need to review it and make sure that I'm where I want to be at the moment.
Awesome. Well, and Agnieszka, thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your story, your wisdom. We'll definitely include some links so people can find you online. They can find you on LinkedIn as well. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Sarah. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you for tuning in to the Business Talk Library. If you like our content, be sure to follow us on social media. And if you want to see more of our exclusive content, you can subscribe and become a member on patreon.com/Business Talk Library. Hey, the Business Talk Library is the place where business makes sense.